How to beat a failed breath test for your DUI. I'm attorney Adam Rossen, and I'm going to show you how to beat a DUI even though you fail the breath test. All right, so we got a few different ways on this, but before we go dive deep, let's talk about what this machine is called and what it actually does. So this machine is called the Intoxilyzer 8000. Sounds fancy, right? Well, it's not. It's a piece of junk. This machine is over 25 years old. Think of it. It's older than the first iPhone. This machine is a computer, basically, that is, again, 25 years old. None of us are using our computers or our cell phones from the year 2000, are we? No, absolutely not. This machine uses microwave radiation technology, which is over 100-year-old technology. It's old, outdated, and antiquated technology. This Intoxilyzer 8000 sounds so fancy. It's had one software update. That's, again, one software update since it was put into production 25 years ago. As we all know, the iPhone has had hundreds of updates, maybe even over 1,000 updates since it first came out in 2007. It's very important that we know and understand this machine, and we know what it's doing, and we know what it's not doing. So now let's jump into the ways that great DUI defense attorneys can beat DUI cases even though you blow over the legal limit. So the first one is there's no breath temperature sensor in this Intoxilyzer 8000. It's important because they will average your temperature at 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So this machine, through an algorithm, assumes that everybody's breath temperature who blows into this machine is 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, scientific studies show that the average breath temperature is closer to 95.5 degrees, about 2 degrees higher. But again, that's an average. When we are going through the stress, the pressure of getting arrested, of being yelled at by a cop, by having a tube thrown in your mouth saying, blow, 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 right? You're stressed. You're nervous. You're terrified. Your mind and brain is thinking about everything all at once. And guess what happens to your body? Your blood pressure, your body temperature, it rises. So the vast majority of people have breath temperatures higher than 93.5 degrees, higher than 95.5 degrees. What does that directly mean and translate for you? Well, what it means is when the machine underestimates your breath temperature, it can be as much as a 20% false positive. Think about that. Up to a 20% false positive on how much alcohol you have in your breath. So that's the first big thing that's wrong with this machine. Number two, there's a thing called partition ratio. I don't want to go into all the details of that right now, but it's a ratio or conversion of a breath result to a blood result. And it's set at 2100 to 1. Scientific studies show that the average human is closer to 1750 to 1. Okay, but again, that's an average. So 1750 to 1 is just an average. There's people even lower than that. And when they overestimate this ratio, this partition ratio, it can be, again, as much of up to a 20% false positive. Again, these are massive numbers here. 20% in two different ways that can be combined, up to 40% false positive right there alone. Some other things you need to know about this machine is that you need to have two valid samples. And these two valid samples have to be within 20 points of each other. They get a wide range, 20 points for it to be right. So imagine if you get on the scale and you weigh 83 pounds, and then you get off that scale, it zeroes out. You get back on the scale, and now you weigh 64 pounds. Well, one's above the legal limit, one's below the legal limit. They're 19 points away, and the police are going to tell you, yeah, our breath machine was working perfectly that day, within range. 19 points? Come on, give me a break. The fourth reason is margin of error. So these machines get tested every single month and once a year by the police. And when the police do these inspections, these tests, they have to buy these simulator solutions that are sterile solutions from the manufacturer, and they have different amounts of alcohol in them. They're expertly prepared. But guess what? They have one at the 0.08 level, at the legal limit level. And there's a margin of error of 5 points, plus or minus. So at that 80 level, let's just call it 80, it'll pass inspection as long as it results or reads anywhere from 75 to 85. And at the 200 level, anywhere from 190 to 210. Those are big gaps and ranges, especially under perfect, ideal, sterile conditions. We have no idea what's in our body what's in the air we breathe, who blew into this machine before us, how many times, how many people had alcohol in their breath before us in this tiny little room that we're giving a breath test to. So there's so many different variables that we have no control over. But what we know is that under perfect, ideal conditions, they get a massive margin of error. Last but not least, the prosecutors must prove that you are over the legal limit at the time you were driving. Not 2 hours later, like in most cases, but at the time you were driving. Your body absorbs and eliminates alcohol on a bell curve. And we have no idea, and most importantly, the prosecutors and the police have no idea if you were under the legal limit at the time you were driving and your body keeps absorbing the alcohol, and then an hour or 2 hours later, you're higher than the legal limit. Now, listen, we know the opposite could be true, right? You could be really high over the legal limit and then sobering up. But the bottom line is it's not our job to prove it. It's the prosecutor's job to prove it. And they don't do it. And they choose not to do it. And they can't do it. So that's something that you need to know. When you blow over the legal limit and you blew 2 hours later, an hour and a half later, okay, all that means is that this result came out 2 hours later. Right? Forget about the accuracy for a second, because of course we always challenge the accuracy. But even if we take that as true, we have no idea what was actually in your bloodstream, right, in your body and affecting your body at the time you were driving, and they can't prove it. So those are 5 top ways to beat a DUI with a failed breath test here in Florida for 2025, 2026, and beyond.